Following the brutal defeat of the 7th Thezan Rifles at Outpost Varnak, Imperial High Command could no longer ignore the threat posed by the chaos relic known as the Crimson Tally. To contain the growing warp anomaly, they deployed a strike force of Primaris Space Marines from the Verdant Blades Chapter, hand-picked veterans known only as the Angels of Ash. Their objective: purge the corrupted site or die trying. The relic pulsed, warp energy coiled and twisted as the Crimson Tally, long dormant, awakened with a shriek across time and space. Its corrupt power surged through the ruins of Vedran Hold, and the battlefield warped in an instant. One Chaos Legionary was torn from reality, teleported screaming into the shell of a nearby building. Another was dragged unwillingly toward the pulsing artifact. The heavy gunner staggered, his limbs trembling as the warp leached his strength. The Balefire acolyte clutched at his head as whispers filled his mind. And then, thunder. From the fog of war strode the Angels of Ash, Primaris Space Marines of the Verdant Blades Chapter, dispatched to recover or destroy the relic before it tore open the veil of reality. Their mission: purge the chaos-corrupted site and end the threat of the Crimson Tally once and for all. No targets yet, no voices, only the quiet hum of his auto-senses and the warping pulse of the relic. The first intercessor advanced from the shattered cathedral ruins, taking cover behind a heavy barricade at the center of the battlefield. Across the no man's land, the Chaos Champion of the Violators moved into position behind a rusted freight container. He waited, silent, calculating, while the warp energy whispered blasphemies into his ears. From the rooftops, the Eliminator had already found his prey. The Melta-Gunner, freshly teleported by the artifact's malign will, stumbled into view. The sniper loaded mortis rounds into his bolt rifle, exhaled, and fired. 2 clean shots. 2 bolts of Imperial judgment. The Chaos Marine twisted, his body crumbling back into the warp from whence it came. On the left flank, the Balefire acolyte moved, ducking into cover behind a cracked ruin. The relic had chosen its battlefield, but the Emperor's finest would decide its fate. The Primaris captain, resplendent in his blackened plate, charged from cover, targeting the Chaos Champion. His power fist hummed with kinetic might, striking in arcs of blinding force. Blows rained down upon the corrupted Marine, staggering him, but not yet ending him. Seeing their leader in peril, a Chaos Warrior charged into the fray. He battered at the captain with his heretical fists, but the Emperor's justice could not be turned aside. The warrior found himself struck back, bleeding and broken. Meanwhile, on the far flank, another intercessor advanced carefully, taking cover alongside a ruined wall. The battle stretched across the width of the ruined outpost. Behind the Crimson Tally, a Chaos Warrior took up a defensive position, uncertain whether to guard the relic or flee from it. On the opposite side, the Intercessor Grenadier moved forward, hugging cover near a collapsed shrine. With no targets in sight, he waited. Beside him, the Assault Intercessor advanced in turn, ready for the melee to come. Once again, the Crimson Tally activated. A second wave of warp corruption lashed out. The heavy gunner and warrior both screamed in pain as their bodies were racked with violent tremors. The warp drained them, even as they held to their guns. The Primaris captain saw his moment. With renewed fury, he activated his power fist. The Chaos Champion was the first to fall, his head crushed in a single devastating blow. The wounded warrior followed, smashed into the dirt by Imperial might. With the melee clear, the captain retreated behind the container for cover. But the war was far from over. On the left flank, the Balefire acolyte slipped behind the lines, sneaking up on the intercessor. With a snarl, he struck, warp fire erupting from his hands. The intercessor reeled, wounded but alive. With gritted teeth, the wounded Marine turned and fired. Bolter rounds struck true, hammering into the Acolyte's armor, but the traitor still stood. Across the ruins, another Chaos Warrior moved into the shadow of the building where the Melta-Gunner had vanished. From his new vantage, he saw the Primaris captain and opened fire, but his bolter rounds deflected harmlessly off the metal container. Nearby, another intercessor turned to support his brother. Bolter fire lit the gloom. The Acolyte staggered under the renewed assault, but still, he clung to life. Whispers of the warp shielding his dying form. The Chaos Heavy Gunner steadied his stance, resting the Reaper cannon against a fallen barricade. He waited, calculating. Meanwhile, the Intercessor Grenadier moved up, targeting the Chaos Warrior with his bolt pistol. But in his haste, his shots went wide, smacking into the barricade. The warrior responded immediately, returning fire with grim precision. Bolter rounds tore through the air, piercing parts of the Grenadier's armor. But the Marine held firm. The assault intercessor, following close behind, tried to draw a bead on the enemy, but with the angles blocked by friendly bodies and incoming fire, he held his shot. High above, the Eliminator sighted the Balefire Acolyte. 2 more shots, 2 more judgments. This time, the target did not survive. The Crimson Tally activated again. The Heavy Gunner, still near the artifact, groaned as the warp drained him once more. Still, he stood. Then came the storm. With a roar, the gunner unleashed a torrent of Reaper fire at the Intercessor Grenadier. The hail of bullets tore through Ceramite, the Marine staggering under the onslaught. Wounded and bleeding, the Grenadier pressed forward, reaching the Crimson Tally. He knelt, preparing the Codex Purge charges to destroy it. To end this. But the enemy was not finished. The Chaos Warrior turned and opened fire. Bolter rounds struck the Grenadier, pushing him to the edge of collapse. But the Emperor's light still held him upright. Seeing his battle brother in peril, the assault intercessor charged. With a scream and a whir of his chainsword, he fell upon the Chaos Warrior. In moments, the traitor was split from shoulder to hip, his body falling in 2. But it was not over. The Chaos Heavy Gunner turned his cannon on the Grenadier. This time, his cursed rounds hit home. The Grenadier fell, slamming into the cracked stone beside the relic. Righteous fury surged through the Space Marines. The Intercessor and Captain advanced. The Captain raised his plasma pistol and fired. A glowing bolt of searing blue lanced through the air. The Chaos Gunner convulsed, his torso burning as he collapsed in a heap of smoking armor. High above, the Eliminator watched the battlefield quiet. The Angels of Ash advanced, stepping over the dead toward the pulsing relic. The Crimson Tally beat like a heart, but the Codex Purge was ready. The time had come.
Thanks so much for watching our latest Kill Team Battle Report. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel, it really helps us grow. Let us know in the comments if you want to see more narrative-style games or prefer a more tactical playthrough. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next from the 360 Wargaming studio.